Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Scrips. Welcome to my podcast, Colourful Conversation. This is the first episode where I actually sit down with someone, and my first guest, his name is Matthew Deppe. He's a good friend. Hang out with him all the time. We've done plenty of work together. He's an incredible photographer, incredible musician, great dude. I hope you enjoy the conversation. All right, well, Matthew Deppe, commercial editorial photographer, side musician sometimes. You can play a killer piano. You live in the greater Toronto area. We've done lots of work together in the past.
A lot.
Like photography stuff and non-related. You're a Hasselblad owner, which is pretty cool. Phase 1. You've got a lot of cool brands under your name. One recent project that I've seen that you're doing is this editorial project.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So I've contacted a couple publications in the GTA about doing publication coverage and more editorial work, and instead of kind of going down the traditional route of contacting these places, I thought about hosting my own editorial job, just to have people on location. We can shoot with a team of people, so BTS photographers on set, you on as our videographer, so you would kind of create this picture of the whole day, and I want this to be used for everybody's portfolio, so it's going to be unpaid, it's a TFP, but it's for everyone on site to basically get that exposure, and you can network with everybody else on board. So we have, I think, 4 or 5 photographers on right now. We have 6 models, we have 2 grips, and then we have cinematographer. So we have pretty much everyone that we need to kind of wrap this up, and it's going to be a 4-part piece. I want to have one, ideally in the next month or so, I want to have a fall piece, a winter, a spring, and then we'll just see kind of how it goes. So conditionally, I want it to be based on the weather, and that'll kind of conduct a different way of how we move the clothing and location-wise. Everything's going to be shot outdoors. I just hope everyone's kind of okay with shooting out in colder weather as it approaches, but it's just going to be for everybody's portfolio. So if you're getting into modeling and you don't have a built portfolio yet, just to have stills behind your name for your website or for submitting to publications, then this is your chance. If you want to get a portfolio in your photographer, this is your chance to get that BTS coverage. So I'm just kind of making all these little indents for different people to collaborate on one project. It's unpaid, but you at least get to be part of a little contribution. So that was kind of the idea behind it. I'm still figuring it out. It's a lot. So
And you said this was pitched, or you pitched it to Halton?
I pitched a similar idea to Halton. But instead, I was contacted again from someone. It was a curator through Halton Hills. This is now a new project that I'm doing through Halton. I'm running a photography workshop.
Oh, okay. So this is different.
This is different. It's another one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is happening this coming Sunday, 12 to 4 at Scottsdale Farm, just in Acton. So just if you take Trafalgar North, just outside of Georgetown, you hit this little really nice conservation area. It was privately owned, donated to the city, I believe. And
it was donated to Conservation Halton.
Yeah. It's a big lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we've done lots of work there.
Lots of
awesome.
lots of
I
work.
love, even if I'm not working there, I love to just go and check the place out.
Yeah.
I've done 3 family shoots there now. We've shot with Emma there countless times, which some of those photos, that was where my levels started
The pinnacle
to go
of
up.
everything starting to change. Yeah.
We really started to figure it out at that point.
You start to notice a lot the more that you go there, and even if it's just for, your own sake, and you're not shooting for work.
Mm-hmm.
I find that every year you go down, there's something else that you pick out for the next time you go for a client assignment, and you're like, I can maybe use that.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many spots.
Seasonal too.
Yeah.
It changes so much.
Yeah, fall's beautiful. Winter's
I think midsummer's probably the worst because of the bugs and because of how much vegetation grows, and the people don't really maintain the property like it used to.
No.
So when you go in the winter, there's lots of extra areas you can go. You can not be afraid to go through the bushes and stuff because of bugs and things like that.
Yeah.
We've
had enough run-ins with ticks to know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, man, that one time down the road here,
that was brutal.
We
5 minutes in,
oh my
if
God.
that, and we
jumping all over us.
Yeah, we got back to the cars, it covered, and head to toe.
Dude, I did go back there recently, and I got some. You probably saw the little reel sequence that I made.
A little bit, yeah.
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 So I had filmed all of those shots were actually in landscape, so I was using those in a bigger video. But the place, I like barely even touched the surface of exploring that place. I'm not too sure how much we're actually allowed to use because like it shows like that no hunting, no like garbage and all that.
Trespassing sign.
It shows like it's
Yeah.
like a marked like trail, and sometimes I see like ATV tracks through there, but I like never really know how far it goes nor like what's
I
really
could
around there.
imagine even people that are just on foot hiking, they've gone pretty far into that
Yeah.
area.
I
It's
think
a big
it's worth
bush.
checking out because,
Yeah.
dude, like even when I got to the edge of where it goes down into that river canal,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like so steep and there's like no fence or nothing. It's like part of the trail and it's like a wicked view. I think like going there early in the morning, it's not very far from here. I think that's something we should do and like to get that early light on it because
There's so much there.
I think we're sleeping on it.
Yeah, we should go back. Anytime except for midsummer,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to wear like a hazmat suit any other time because those bugs.
Nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's cool. There's a lot of local halting spots that have just been kind of like untouched. And I see like vacant, completely abandoned houses just like sitting in the middle of nowhere. And I can't imagine how long in solitude these places like haven't been discovered, touched,
Yeah.
not explored by people that want to go in and photograph or kind of shoot the elements.
Mhm.
And there's places that I see all the time in Halton. Go to Six Line for 2 minutes. Go north for 2 minutes past, Dundas, and you'll start to see like residential and then development, and then you'll start to hit like all of these abandoned places. And it's not far out of Oakville. And even Milton, Georgetown, Acton, they all hold these old places. And it's like, just go when there's less or fewer cars and
Yeah.
bring a headlight and you're good to go. There's a lot out there.
Yesterday when I was shooting near Walker's Line in Appleby
Yeah,
I kept going. I got to the city of Kilbridge, the little town Kilbridge. There was like 2 or 3 spots that I found around there that I like marked in my GPS because they were like, I was like, this place is so sick. One of them was like this abandoned farm and there was like a few pieces of things on the property and like it was a very quiet road. I think if we went with one car, like we could like park it a little bit down the road and just walk to it because it does say like no trespassing. And when I was there, like I heard like a huge amount of water like flowing like not too far off in the distance, and I looked on the map and there's like this big like pond thing, and I had tried to get to it from this one spot, but I like didn't think I was allowed to be over there. And being alone, I was just like, I'm just not gonna do it for now. If I'm like with someone, sure I'll go for it. I don't really care, but I think we should go check out that spot because it was sweet.
I hope you have the coordinates for that.
Yeah. No, I saved it. And I even if like I just know, like we know where Kilbridge is, it's not far
That's
from
not
here.
far. Yeah.
I could find it from being in the town because I was like in the town and then went back.
Yeah.
Alongside with that, I was gonna say I've been figuring out landscape photography a little bit more. I think something where you outperformed me for a while was in landscape work. I think some like you have a bigger portfolio of good landscape shots.
Well, I mean that's subjective. It's hard to say.
True. I mean, just personally, like looking at them, like you've got great stuff. I was wondering who are people that you look up to in landscape work / like who do you tend to learn from? How often are you trying to learn new stuff, or is it just through like practice?
Aside from who you know, I'm thinking of. Due to your hatred for his accent and his.
No, I don't hate his accent. I love the guy.
If he ever tunes into this channel.
That'd be crazy.
We both love you, but no, Thomas Heaton. Thomas Heaton. Man behind the photo. He's incredible. You don't really have to say a lot for his work. It speaks volume. I mean, I'd be happy to go on a shoot just to watch.
Yeah, you don't shoot. You just watch him.
Not at all. And his touch for handheld work, because he's on a tripod 95% of the time. He switched from Fujifilm X-T4, X-T3. He went to Nikon Z7. Z7 II is his latest one. He tried the Z8. He didn't like it. Like, he's always moving from systems. I don't think he's an ambassador for any of those companies, but he uses any kind of tool, and his work is so quiet, if that makes sense. It's very quiet, his work. There's not much going on. Even if there's movement, even if there's animals or a subject, no matter the scale, they're very silent work, and it's stunning. It's beautiful to watch his galleries and to see how everything kind of transitions in his years of making this work. And he explores crazy locations. And he actually had a trip recently, I think, on a boat out in the Arctic.
Oof.
With a team of people, all photographers, and I guess they had to kind of pay their way on board.
Mm-hmm.
But he hosted this event. He booked the charter. He paid for all of, so he paid for it to actually leave the dock,
Mm-hmm.
and they went out for a week and they stayed in these small huts, and he photographed polar bears. And
boy.
I think at that point he wasn't shooting with anything digital. He had a Hasselblad X-Pan 2.
Oh no!
So
yes.
he used that, and yeah, he was just doing panoramic work the entire time off the boat. And he's shooting, I think, at I don't know what the focal length is, a 28. But all of his work, it was just, again, so silent. It was so quiet.
He made a behind-the-scenes video of this?
Yeah.
It's on his YouTube.
Yeah, you can see how it kind of came to be, and it's really neat. You give a guy a digital camera, incredible work, him, of course. And then you give him an X-Pan, which is how many years old, and they're not very comparable. But the silence, again, like the quietness in his photos, they're very simple compositions, but they're so similar in the way that he shoots. You would know, give it 20 years, you see a digital, and then you see one of his shot on a 35 mil. You can tell it was his work.
Mm-hmm.
So
it is, yeah.
I try to push that into my own work. I have my own spin on things, depending on how long I want to leave the shutter open, or if I want to bump the ISO in an environment that needs it, or if I want to shoot 1:1, if I want to shoot 5x4. It depends. It's like, it is subjective. That's the whole nice art about landscape work, right? It's just if it suits your fancy and you write landscape or environment, and you're like, this would make sense, then yeah, you have to figure it out. It's
looking
It's a
at
lot.
like his work with how he's able to record what he's shooting while he's shooting it, and then like going along with the problems. Like he's living in his van some of those times when he does those trips. And like you see how far he is away sometimes from his camera. It's he's got to make that trip twice, maybe three times.
We talked about that recently.
Yeah, it's really impressive because like it's something that I try and do with my work is getting that behind the scenes stuff. But man, you're there for hours longer than you need to be to get those shots. Yeah. And like sometimes I think like if that was my job, then sure I'll stay out for hours.
Yeah.
That's like it's already okay with me. It's a little more annoying when there's like kind of a time crunch or the sun's going down.
I was gonna say,
gotta get home.
Your conditions are like, you have to work around them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one thing I've noticed too, though, is like shooting sunrise, sunset. Like it can't go wrong. You got to plan for that, so it's like being up before the sun and then going to the location for the sunset before the sunset actually happens. Like we ran into that issue at Sandhills, which like the ball of the sun was a glowing ball going over the horizon, and we saw it for not even 5 minutes, and it was incredible to see.
That was like, no, you saw it. That was brutal.
Yeah.
So for context, we were. There's this place that I go to that I've been now for a few times. It's on Lake Erie, called Sandhills Park. Brilliant. It's not very expensive. You can kind of pick your plot on the land with where you want to go. You can bring an RV, bring your car, bring a bike, a backpack. You can just go in however you want. And it's called Sandhill because literally on the other side of this pyramid of a wall of sand is Lake Erie. And it's brilliant. And we were going down one night to shoot the sun to get some nice, landscapes. And he beat me down the hill by how many, not even minutes. I mean, and you were able to see the entirety of the sun before it peaked behind a hill. And I'm like running down this hill with my 1DX Mark II, big lens, big tripod. I pull up everything. I like snap open the tripod and I look to my right and it's just like falling behind the hill.
It was moved like because of the way the rocks were. Like you could literally see it moving.
That was so sad.
Yeah.
So upset.
The blue hour though was really nice.
Yeah.
I think that's something we need to start like getting better at is like putting aside, we have a narrative of a photo or a set of photos that we want to get and just like shooting what we see. Because I think when we get like disappointed from like, oh, the sun's gone, now I'm not seeing what I wanted to see, then we just like waste the opportunity of like getting those after sunset photos. It's like, just wait a little bit. Like there could be something else that like catches your attention. I don't know that the bugs were too bad. I remember going in the water, spiders all over that sand wall. That was a little tricky part.
Okay. I mean, that kind of environment calls for that stuff. The bugs weren't as bad. I've had worse encounters with bugs in Halton than I did at any point down there. It was okay. But yeah, Sandhills, it was a cool spot. Mm-hmm. And you're stuck between two small towns down there. It's
that's right. And we went to go check out that submarine. And
yeah, if you're leaving Sandhill, you're right on Lake Erie. If you turn left, 15 minutes down the road, there's a small town. If you went right, another 15 minutes, there's another small town. Between Port Burwell and Port Rowan, pretty much the same towns. I know Port Burwell has that submarine.
Yeah, Port Burwell is quite a bit bigger.
It is a little bit bigger, yeah.
But
there's great spots.
Yeah. Yonk and I went and got fish and chips last time. We went into this one, like, it's like a rock gem store.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there was the amount of stuff in there.
Endless.
Was insane. Yeah,
it's a cool spot. Yeah, I think there's a lot, even up here, not so much the water, but there's a lot of spots that haven't really been touched yet that we have to jump on because, I mean, we've discovered quite a bit, and we tend to go back to the same spots, and our perspective hasn't really, it's transitioned since the last time we went. We're not going with the same mentality, like, okay, we want to shoot the same thing again, or we get bored of a place because we know it's kind of an open map. That's the nice thing. So we can go to Scottsdale. We know it like the back of our hand, but there's areas that we can still kind of climb into and take advantage of.
And sometimes I find I'm never the best at taking a picture of one thing the first time. Especially trees. I've noticed with trees, if I take a picture of, like, I have like 10 different pictures of the tree outside and the back, like so many of the ones in the front, and they're all different, and they're all like good in their own way and better in some ways. Like, there's a lot of like trees at Scottsdale that are like super isolated, which, like, I think even just like trying to get a drone shot of it, like, it's like I love that tree. I only have ground perspective and like from mostly only this side because we're never like too far out. Maybe we go too far out and we see it from this side, like the house is in the background or something. Yeah. I find that has helped a lot. I think one thing this year, again, that I'm going to do is a fall project, which I've started already because of the changing colors. It's essentially, I want to do Milton. I'm down to include Georgetown. I think Milton, just because it's like closest for me. I'm going to really shoot Rivercroft. I want to do both of the escarpments, like, as much as I can. I'm going to go back to Hilton Falls, which I'm stoked about because that place is incredible. But I just want to compile as much colorful fall work as possible. Good idea. And, like, it's like a 2 or 3 week window where I think it's like an everyday thing. I don't really care what season or like what the weather's like. It's like I gotta try and get something for this day. It's just one fucking photo.
Once fall hits, I feel like the weather is kind of unpredictable because the leaves change so quickly. So your window is you're very limited.
You can't like plan. Okay, I'm gonna go in 3 weeks to get the fall colors. It's like no.
Yeah,
you like go now, and you like
you want it, you get it
until you get it.
Yeah. That's the nice thing. I mean, Halton delivers when it comes to their fall transition, and right now we're literally on the brink of it. And then it started. Yeah, we're gonna be out quite a bit, and then I know Scottsdale is gonna be packed with wedding photographers and engagements and proposals and yada yada. It usually is. But yeah, everyone's trying to take advantage of that, and I think last fall I wasn't out as much for photos. I don't know why. I think I knew what to expect, and I wasn't really as involved with landscape stuff. I mean, I was doing it, but I just didn't see it as clearly as I do now.
True.
So, it hasn't really started yet, so now I can really get ahead of the curve and plan that out. But
we did have that one Rivercroft day.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta go back to that, too. Yeah, there's a lot. There's so many spots. There's a lot out there.
You and I met somehow.
Well, I think that wraps it up for this episode. Do you got any words for me or for yourself in terms of what you hope for your future?
I mean, dude, you know what I'm thinking too, like with those projects
towards the end of this year, and then
if it's with my help, like let's
starting the new
get
business
going with
year.
your YouTube channel on that shit. Like,
I'm just gonna keep on going with work. That's about it.
Just like having it as behind the scenes.
I really want to launch this editorial job.
I
want to get it going.
Episode
I want to lift that up.
And it's about documenting. How do you
And I've
Do
heard a
people
bunch
just
of
contact
people
you
talking
directly?
about how
Is it on your page?
don't really focus too much on
no,
coming up
it's-
with new
it's-
ideas or like
Now it's
trying
only
to figure
open,
out how to
but it
teach
was
people
private
something.
at one point.
Just document what you're doing.
So
and
there's two
make
different things. The
content
editorial is the
based
one that's
around
kind of my own side
'Cause then you don't
project,
have to
which
really
I
do
have
anything
a
extra
team of maybe
besides
14
just set
now
up the camera.
involved. The
Like,
other
if
thing that
you're-
I'm doing
if you're, like,
is
spending
for
all this time
Culture
trying to
Days through
find new
Halton
ideas,
Hills,
which
and that's happening
I've
this
done
Sunday.
in the past, but it's like
So
it
if
goes through
anybody wants to
cycles
go,
where
that's
like,
it's
I don't
completely
have
open.
anything
You don't have to
left.
live in Halton, but
Yeah. So like
bring your friends, family,
documenting
bring
just
your
what we're doing
camera.
like
That would
this.
help.
gonna
But
get
it's
a
all going to
GoPro
take place
soon
in
to make that
Scottsdale,
process
and
easier.
that's this Sunday, 12 to
Yeah.
4.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
bring a tripod, bring a camera.
I
Bring
talked
your
about that on
dog,
yesterday's
bring-
episode actually.
Yeah, so that's one thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I want to do more of those. And then I think even starting in January forward, I want to start hosting more workshops and just have people out on location. And, yeah, I mean, there's a lot
Man.
more
Dude, it definitely
people in Halton that
fell
I
out
wasn't
when we
aware of
wiped
that
out.
shoot, and they may be
Yeah,
hobbyists,
didn't
but
have
it's
a
nice to
zipper.
get involved with the community because before that, I mean, you and I met somehow on two different shoots at the funniest time.
Yeah.
We need more of
That'll
that.
be for another episode.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's true. I mean, dude, you know what I'm thinking too? Like with those.
It was a
projects,
familiar feeling. It's all
If
good.
it's with my help, like let's.
All right, well,
let's
we just did
get going
27
with your
minutes, so
YouTube channel and that
brilliant,
shit.
perfect
Like,
size episode
yeah.
for.
I've
number
been
one.
lacking on
To
that.
contact you,
just like
it's
having it as behind the scenes.
MatthewDepp.ca,
Dude, there's one thing
or
which
Depp.ca?
I want to like record a separate.
That's your
episode
website?
about,
Mhm.
and it's about documenting, not
Okay,
creating.
Depp.ca is
And
his
I've heard a bunch of
website.
people talking about
Matthew
how
Depp, your Instagram.
don't
same
really
with
focus
Facebook.
too much on like coming
And
up
Depp
with
is
new ideas or like
DEPPE.
trying to figure out how to teach people
Cool.
something. Just
Yeah.
document what you're
Well,
doing.
thanks for
and make
joining.
the content based around
I'll
that.
catch you
Yeah.
'Cause then
guys
you don't
in
have
the
to
next
really do anything
episode.
extra besides
Peace.
just set up the camera.
Yeah.
Like if you're like spending all this time trying to find new ideas, which I've done in the past, but it's like it goes through cycles where I'm just like I don't have anything left.
Rather just
Yeah.
explain the process and
Documenting just what we're doing, which
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a GoPro soon, so to make that process easier.
number 10
Yeah.
now, or
Oh god.
you've lost how many?
I talked about that on yesterday's episode, actually.
Okay, well we're doing it again
Yeah.
because the last one that I heard of, we were snowboarding with a buddy. There was three of us. We went to a small hill, Glen Eden, not far, and we were on the chairlift.
Man, dude, it just.
I forget how
fell out when
you
it
put it in
wiped
one of your pockets.
out. Yeah.
and
zipper.
yeah, and you're like, I could tell you're feeling around for something, and something wasn't there because you're like looking in places that would not hold a camera, and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
they lost the GoPro. And yeah, that was scary. I felt bad for you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I don't
a
know.
familiar feeling. It's
Yeah.
all good. All right. Well, we just did 27 minutes, so brilliant. It's a perfect size episode for number one. To contact you, it's MatthewDepp.ca or Depp.ca.
Well,
That's
the
your
first
website?
one wasn't mine. That's being an imposter.
Okay, Depp.ca. This is
Depp.ca.
the website.
Yep.
Matthew Depp, your Instagram.
Yep.
Same with Facebook. And Depp is DEPPE.
Yeah.
Cool.
Glad you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.